Good morning. My name is Scott Fenwick, and I am Executive Director of Stand Canada, a youth-led anti-genocide advocacy organization. I am also the initiator of Petition E547, which will be presented today by Jenny Kwan in the House of Commons. Beside me and Ms. Kwan is Arsham Parsi, founder and executive director of the Iranian Railroad for Queer Refugees. We're here to talk about the Government of Canada's Refugee Transportation Loan Program. We also have news to share regarding this program that has not been made public. Refugees settling in Canada must be treated with equality and fairness and be supported with the resources that they need to thrive. The Transportation Loan Program needs to be abolished. It puts an undue burden on refugees. This program, officially known as the Immigration Loan Program, was created to assist refugees settling into Canada after World War II. However, this program has not evolved to meet Canada's modern humanitarian objectives. Starting only 30 days after arrival, refugee families are required to repay the cost of their transportation to Canada. When the Transportation Loan Program is scrutinized, it becomes clear that this program is inefficient, keeps refugees from getting language and skills training, and is antithetical to our humanitarian goals. These recent loan waivers for some groups of refugees has shown that the Canadian government is financially capable of supporting refugees from all countries without requiring payback. The government doesn't need any of the money generated from interest on these loans. Canada has already spent hundreds of millions of dollars on assistance to those affected by war in Iraq and Syria. Canada has already allocated millions of dollars to assist refugees in the countries surrounding Syria. Faced with such limited resources, 76% of government-sponsored refugees have used social assistance to pay these loans. Money from government is going from refugees back to government. In practice, Canada is trying to gain money off the backs of survivors of war and persecution. Now, information that we will circulate, Stand has also recently learned that Yazidi refugees, in addition to Syrian refugees, have had their travel costs covered by the Canadian government. The fact that this has not been made public is concerning to us, as this program needs to have public scrutiny. So, to reiterate, Canada is the only country in the world to charge interest on these loans. The average principal of these loans is $3,000, and the average repayment term is 2 years. This severely hurts their ability to adapt and thrive in Canadian society. Many of these individuals have fled traumatic events, and this loan program places an economic burden on them and requires them to choose between repaying their loan and accessing basic services such as trauma counseling. According to government figures, 47% of all loan recipients have left school and language training programs in order to repay the loans. Stand Canada urges the government to immediately replace the existing transportation loan program with a system of grants while maintaining the number of refugees resettled in Canada. This will reduce the economic burden on both refugees and Canadians. Mr. Parsi will now speak, followed by Ms. Kwan. Thank you.
Good morning and thank you, Scott. My name is Arsham Parsi, the Executive Director of the Iranian Railroad for Queer Refugees. IRQR is a registered charity in Canada, and our mission is to relieve poverty for lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender refugees living in Turkey by providing basic necessity of life. Our vision is to provide education, guidance, food, shelter, assistance to LGBT refugees while in Turkey until they are resettled in safe countries like Canada. LGBT refugees have no support from their families, and in most cases they are abandoned by their families due to their sexual orientation and or gender identity. These refugees live in extremely difficult conditions in Turkey for up to 3 years or until they are resettled in a safe country. This challenging life in Turkey makes them vulnerable and in need of emotional and physical support, especially now that Government of Canada almost stopped accepting non-Syrian refugees. So we request Government of Canada to relieving these refugees from transportation and medical loans, which is very essential to help them grow and becoming a successful member of Canadian society. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much to the both of you and for organizing this important press conference. My name is Jenny Kwan. I'm the MP for Vancouver East, and I'm also the NDP critic for Immigration, Refugee, and Citizenship. I am very happy to stand with you to call on the federal government to eliminate the transportation loan for all refugees. Right now, as it stands, we have a system where it is a two-tier system. For the government, there are those that they deem to be deserving of the waiving of the transportation loan, and then there are those that are not. I have thought that a refugee is a refugee is a refugee. The truth of the matter is, when people come, when they flee their country, their home country, they're all in dire situations. That is the definition of refugees. And when they come to resettle in Canada, they all go through the same struggles. Many of them have to learn English as a second language. They have to find housing. They have to find the supports. They have to find work. Some of them may have experienced tremendous trauma to which they would need additional support. And the fact is that they all need that support. And for refugees where the transportation loan is not waived, within 30 days that they're here on Canadian soil, they will actually receive a letter from the government telling them that they must repay their loan. I have met refugees who's received these letters that are so stressed because of it, that they, because are thankful, so thankful for the Canadian government and the Canadian people for accepting them into Canada, that they will do virtually anything to pay back that loan. I've met a family of 6, and after they pay their rent, which is very expensive in the Lower Mainland in Vancouver, they have to repay their loan, and after they've repaid their monthly payment of the loan, they're left with less than $200 a month for a family of 6 to try and survive. They go to the food bank every week to make ends meet. And the adults in the family are so stressed because of that. Literally, they're losing sleep over this. That is their reality. And for that particular family, they came just days before this government decided that they would waive the loan for the Syrian refugees. So they fell outside of that parameter. And of course, as we learned at committee, as I learned at committee from officials, that the loan program really spoke to the government's political expediency. The government wanted to meet their Syrian refugee numbers, so they waived the loan for that period. After they reached that number, the loan waiving was eliminated. And then, of course, they decided that they would make that loan waiving program available also for the Yazidis as well. I'm not saying that they should not deserve to have the loan program waived. I am saying that all the refugees should be given that same treatment, same equal treatment, fair treatment. If the government recognizes that refugees inherently are faced with hardships and they want to make their transition into Canada easier and be supportive of that process by waiving the loan for some refugees, they ought to then apply that same principle for all refugees. That's what I'm saying. The information that I have also indicate that the loan program, over 50% of the refugees who received the loan said that they're paying back the loan with extreme difficulties. And they are, because they have no other resources and they are eating into their basic necessities in order to make that work. And as I said, because they are so grateful for the Canadian people for supporting them, that they will literally do anything and everything than to default in that loan. So in the spirit of that, I absolutely support the call for the government to waive the loan. And today I will be tabling in the House of Commons a petition that was initiated by my good friends here. And there are in a short period of 4 months, there are 2,300 signatures on this petition. So it wasn't a very long time. It was just out there for a short period of time. And already, as it were, across the country, 2,300 people had signed to call for the government to waive the loan. I should say that there are many, many other groups that are out there who's been calling for this. Virtually all resettlement service agencies that I've spoken to have said that this should be gone. And people have been working on this for some time. Now, to close off, I should say this as well. The former minister, Minister McCallum, had actually said at committee when I asked him what's going on with the loan program, with the review of the loan program about waiving the loan for all refugees. And he had made a commitment that was work that was actively being done. Now, the minister has come and gone, and that was more than a year ago. And here we are, nowhere. There is no action. And the inaction on what's going on with the review of the loan program is actually shocking to me. And particularly coming from a minister who himself had traveled down that path, who himself was a refugee, who must understand the challenges and the difficulties for the newcomers. So I urge the government, I urge the minister to take action and use the principle of equality and fairness and apply that for all refugees and waive the loans for all refugees, no matter when they came and where they came from. Thanks very much.